So over the last 6 years, I managed to edit 2,529 videos. That's over 210 terabytes of footage, nearly 250,000 gigabytes. And what's even crazier is that every single project started the exact same way. So before I edit anything, I have to make sure all my files are organized, optimized, and synced. Once you get the beginning part right, the rest will flow properly. We're gonna go through a project I did last year and kind of dissect that whole thing. All right. Right now, what we're gonna do, essentially export all of the footage. Let's do just 2 days. You will keep the sequence or the timeline on the PC or Mac, and then you'll keep the footage separate on an SSD. When you keep the project files on the system that you're working on, it will actually work a lot faster. So I can use the full CPU and the full storage from the PC. That's what I've seen the most performance actually. Your first folder is gonna be the name of the project in general. So for this case, practice timeline. Then the next folder is gonna be day 1, and then the name of the project. So this will be practice timeline. So we're also gonna add day 2 and then practice timeline. So we wrap with day 1, right? We're done shooting. Now we need to export all the footage. I go into that folder and then I just start naming all the cameras that were used that day. Day 1, we're gonna have audio. Day 1, C300. But you do want to make sure that your cameras are going to be doing continuous naming. Sometimes I've seen Sony's, they'll kind of restart the naming process. I think it's typically something like C0001, right? Now, if you have C001 for day 1, and you also have C001 for day 2 or 3, now when you're linking files in Premiere Pro, it's going to get confused and things can go out of whack. So this is how you fix that. All you need to do is change your settings to continuous writing for your naming process of your SD cards. The biggest issue comes with audio. My Zoom H8 here, it doesn't do like continuous naming. So what you have to do is they all were TR1, TR1, TR1. That's literally how it was written into this. I'll just put a letter. It'll look like something like this. Day 2, A, TR1, so on and so forth. Just make sure whenever you're exporting footage, the naming process is continuous. If it isn't continuous, make sure that you're giving it different names. Or you can even see here, day 2, mic 1, day 2, mic 2. And then once you're done dumping, you want to make sure those CF Express cards or SD cards, you want like 2 piles. Actually, I'll have my memory card case. The team gives me all the footage, right? After I'm done exporting something, it goes into here. I can do a double check to make sure again. From there, these are all formatted immediately. If you don't format them as you're doing this, you're gonna find yourself with duplicates. Okay, so now I'm gonna open up Premiere Pro, and basically what I'm gonna do, when I'm making a new project file, practice timeline or wherever the name of the project is, _ sequence. Practice timeline project files. And then I open that and I save the sequence inside the project files. See, this is the best part. Organize your footage properly is literally as easy as copying and pasting it over. If you want to keep your MXF or like your index files, you can, but they're not fully necessary. And also, if your project had photos and videos, make sure you separate those photos. It's not really worth it to just toss all those photos into Premiere because it takes up a lot of room. It also will mess up your whole syncing process later on. For example here, so day 1 R3 photos, I would move that here so it won't be in here. Oh, actually, this is a prime example of someone not formatting a card when it was done exporting. Because what happens is if you don't format it, like pretty much immediately when you're done exporting, the next time you put that card into your camera, you're gonna second guess, like, oh wait, did I export that? So then typically you'd rather be safe than sorry, and you'll re-export it again, and then you have copies of it. So what we're gonna do is skip those files, and that means all of these are copies. All right, so this is what it's gonna look like. You're gonna take all your files. So let's do audio, do that, got photos, we'll take this, and then we're gonna pretend red is not a part of it because it's separate. It's just a two-step process. And what you'll do is literally drag it over. And then what you'll find out is that Premiere will actually just not want to copy those like index files. They'll just be like, oh, it doesn't use it. And mind you, this process right now is kind of slower because it's on a SATA drive. But if it's on one of these guys, it's 1,000 times faster. As you can see, we keep a lot of these. I highly recommend these ones. I've talked about these 1,000 times. These are the Samsung T7s. They have never failed me, are super fast, a little bit more expensive, but with the durability, how reliable they are, and the speed, you really can't go wrong with them. Yeah, so files not supported. Basically, these are all of the index files that you don't need. So hit OK. And voila, it's all organized and ready to go. Premiere Pro does have an option to color manage auto detect log and basically put the correction LUT for you. I've noticed that the correction LUT that it uses isn't always correct, so I actually just keep these off and I just kind of do it myself. There's just a specific correction LUT that I always use anyways. For example, let's go back to R3. As you can notice that all of these aren't colored. So what I would do is select all of them, right click, and you're gonna go to modify color. And then from there, what you're gonna do is input your correction LUT. So that's kind of log 3 as the correction LUT. This is how I lay out my whole editing process. So I'll have these: project panel, Lumetri, effects. This is just new, the Artlist library. That is a extension that I recently got. Essential sound and graphic templates, all on this side. And then on this side, I have my source monitor, Lumetri scopes, effect controls, track mixer, audio clip mixer, then text. So before I even put anything on my timeline, make sure I filter it by name, so it's kind of like in chronological order. Select all, and then we're going to put it into the timeline. I'll just continue on with the rest of the folders, but before I do that, add more tracks. So you're going to right click over here and you're going to do add tracks. Typically the video tracks are as many cameras as you have. Video tracks, we're going to add 3 after video 3. And then audio tracks. This one's a little different because the C300, the Red, and the R5C had 4 different channels it was recording on. Typically I'll start with like 10 or 15, and then you can just keep adding more. And then you're gonna continue to add the rest of your cameras, but you want to add them on top of each other. So another good way to look at this is to label everything by color. Maybe I'll leave this in the description below. I made a bunch of keyboard shortcuts that kind of makes my life 1,000 times easier. Like one of my shortcuts is I changed all the numbers, the top part of my keyboard, into labels. So if I were to highlight all of these, when I hit 1, they'll turn yellow. So from here, what we'll do is add the rest. And when you add them just on top of each other. You can sync a drone if you do have audio with it, but the way I'm showing you guys how to sync everything is based on sound. If your drone doesn't have a sound or doesn't have audio, I wouldn't put it in the timeline just yet. Just anything that has waveforms. So we've got all the cameras in, we labeled which camera's which. Go to your audio, and you want to individually put each audio track right underneath each other. We'll start with H8 day 1. That goes down here. For this part, it's best to zoom in to make sure everything's aligned. Mic 2, underneath that. 3. Perfect. Awesome. So now we have day 1 audio, all the cameras, everything besides the drone, because it doesn't have audio. Then from there, what I want to do is you're going to go to your end of the timeline. You're going to hit O for your in and out points, and you'll want to just hit whatever's last. Make sure your out point is at all the way to the end. And then what you want to do, whatever row has either audio or video, you want to make sure you're toggling these on. You want to hit File, Export, Final Cut, Pro XML. I'm exporting into practice timeline project files right here. So like this will be day 1 unsynced, right? Because it's all day 1 footage. Save. I made a video before about Syncaila. Again, not only you can put 3 computers on it, but it literally syncs everything super quickly and efficiently. So the best part too is if you haven't used it before, I believe you get like 2 weeks free trial, which it also gives you the unlimited version of it. I'll leave a link down below for you guys to go download that. To download it, you want to import that XML file that we just saved. Once you import it, it's going to verify media. You don't have to wait for this. You can just hit synchronize and then let it do its job. You know it's working when this is a stop symbol. It does take a while sometimes if you have a ton of footage, but if you have like 3 or 4 clips, yeah, no, this thing will be done in like 10 seconds. All we need to do is hit export XML. It already names it for you. When it's done, it'll do a dash synced, and then you just hit save. And then from here, what you want to do, you want to make another folder that says sequences. And then inside that folder, you want to make another bin that says synced. Now within that synced bin, go back to where you exported that XML, grab the XML and drag it into synced bin. Again, what an XML file is a map of where all the clips should be. Once you make that synced folder, it's pretty easy to spot the actual sequence itself, but if you can't find it, hit list view, look for sequence icon here, grab that sequence, cut it, and basically we want to move it into just the main sequence folder, because now you know this is the sync timeline. As for the first one you made, when you were organizing it, you don't need this one anymore. What I like to do though, just in case, I try to find it. So go to reveal sequence in project, and then again, just move that one into that sequence folder. So now again, all the sequences are in here, and then I would just rename that one as presynced. This audio didn't sync with anything. Sometimes it's a hit or miss, but I'm pretty sure this audio file wasn't during this shoot, because again, someone didn't format the card on time. So now there's another duplicate of an audio file. So these two are kind of pointless. Sometimes I keep them, sometimes I don't. For this case, I won't. Basically, I want to push the audio files up top and then the scratch audio down low. And then also kind of minimize the whole sequence. And then condensing it, but making sure not to overwrite anything by putting it on top of it. If I were to go too low here, I lost the audio clips and the video. So you only want to go down to a certain point. The idea here is to just kind of clean up your timeline a bit before you get into like the nitty gritty. Again, make sure you hold shift. You can bring it up or down. Just like that. So now hit this link section icon here, and then that basically unlinks everything. Grab just the audio, hold shift, and bring it down to as many rows that you need for the actual lab mics. In this case, it would be technically 1, because this one will go up next to it because it's not overlapping in this section here. Highlight it again, hold shift and bring this all the way up. And then just kind of close the gap here. What you want to do is just disable scratch audio. So in my case, with my keyboard shortcut, I'm able to hit Shift E. That disables the audio clips that I highlighted. And then you want to link a section again. It's still one unit. They're not moving separately anymore. Knowing that I'm really only focusing on one audio line. The old way before AI, I would go into audio track mixer and then I would hit show hide all effects. I would basically locate that audio file, which this one is on audio 1. And then this is where I lay out all my audio effects. Whatever you put in audio 1, it's gonna have that effect in audio 1 down here. This works just like Adobe Audition. Whatever you put first is the effect that it has first. So if I were to put a denoiser on first and then a de-esser, then it'll denoise the audio first, then de-ess it, and then keep going down. What I've been doing lately is I will locate the original audio track because it's all synced now. So I would right click, reveal in Explorer. On Mac, I believe is reveal in Finder. And then I would literally just take this audio file, put it into Adobe's audio enhancer. That kind of does all the hard work and heavy lifting. Sometimes it does mess up a bit. It can sound a bit AI-ish. As long as you don't push that AI limiter too high, then the audio is still pretty good. At this point, what I typically do is create proxies. So for those that don't know, it's just a lower resolution file of the bigger main file. It allows you to edit at a faster, more comprehensive rate because your computer is not having to trying to render out these massive files, and playback will be a lot smoother and everything. Okay, so making proxies. So what you want to do is highlight them, right click, and you're going to go down to proxies and create proxies. And what you want to do, typically I'll do a quarter. Again, just the smaller size, especially when you're working with 6K or 8K footage. The smaller you can get it, the better. Because at the end, when you're done with the whole timeline, you're just going to relink the original file anyways. You're not going to lose resolution. Typically, you probably want to use the ProRes QuickTime proxy. That will just be the smoothest way to have playback when you're using these files. I also add the proxy icon. Then I know it's like a reminder later on to relink all the files again. And then for location, same folder as the project files. Whatever the name of the project is, so practice timeline _ proxies. But before that, once you make that folder, make another one that says day 1 or day 1. I'm just gonna do abbreviation. So practice time, right? R5 proxies. Then put it in that folder. So once you create the proxies, what's going to happen is media encoder is going to pop up and it's going to just start syncing all of them. So this is actually my last step. Typically converting like a bunch of files, like for example, if this is like 3 days worth of footage, creating proxies is going to take a while. So this is something I kind of leave overnight. So once everything is actually all proxied out, I would go into the synced folder, because basically what that folder is everything that's in this sync timeline. It's just relocated. And then from this folder where all the files are in, I would select all, right click, and under proxy, you attach the proxies. And then what you want to do is just locate it. So when you hit attach, you just go back to that same folder where you exported those. For example, this is what I did for the actual project. You can see day 1 proxies here. Click here, hit search, I found a match, hit OK, and then it'll just attach all the proxies that you exported. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The last 6 years I've been editing, this is a workflow that I've adapted and kind of fine-tuned throughout the process because of all the mistakes that I had before. Again, try this process out. I hope it helps. If there's any other tips or maybe you do something different, let me know in the comments down below. This workflow allows you to build a foundation that makes editing not only smoother, but more efficient. And it worked for me. So I hope it helps you. Save this video, share with a friend, and I'll see you guys next time.